mini excavator you see behind me arrived just a few days ago. Now, I bought this mini excavator, which is a pretty big deal for me. So I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about why I bought it and what I'm hoping to get accomplished with it. First, a little context. There's quite a bit of digging that still needs to be done around here. When I did my planning this summer, it became apparent I was going to need to have an excavator around to do quite a bit of digging. So my first thought was I'll just hire the person that I'd hired last year to do it, but he was unavailable, and it became clear pretty quickly that the market's just really tight right now. Everybody's really busy doing that kind of work, and it was going to be really hard to actually even pay somebody to come out here and do it. That left me with either renting or buying. Renting is a possibility. It means I wouldn't be responsible for the machine, but the rental cost is around $1,200 a week. And it felt like that put an awful lot of pressure on me to be using the machine all the time it was here, and just didn't feel like it would be worth the stress, and it wouldn't be a whole lot of fun either, because I would just be going at it 8 hours a day, and plus I don't really know how to drive this thing. I've never really driven one before, so I didn't want to have to be paying $1,200 a week to learn how to drive the thing. So at the end of the day, buying seemed like a reasonable option because A, it took the pressure off of having to learn to drive the thing. I could just pick away at it for half an hour or an hour a day. And also these used ones, the one behind me has about 1,100 working hours on it, and they go till 10 or 12,000 working hours normally. And once they get used like this one, they actually hold their value quite well. So it didn't feel to me like I was spending this rather large amount of money and it was just completely down the toilet. I could probably use this machine for 4 or 5 years and still sell it and recoup quite a bit of the money that I paid for it. So I decided to go ahead and buy it. Now it was, as I said, quite a bit of money, so that was a bit stressful to consider, but it still seemed like the right decision, all things considered. Now on the downside, the part that I'm not sure where I've gotten myself in over my head, is I am far from a diesel mechanic, and this is a very complicated machine. So I have to have a combination of getting lucky that no major parts break, and the stuff that does break, I'm able to figure out how to fix it or pay somebody a not too much amount of money to be able to fix the thing. So that's a real X factor. I'm hoping that I don't get bit. It's one of the reasons I bought a machine that doesn't have that many hours on it. Now, what am I trying to get accomplished with this machine? Well, there's a couple big ones, ones that I really didn't feel like could wait a whole another year. So the first one is I wanted to build a much more improved shed space for myself, storage space for my stuff. And in order to do it right, I really needed to get something in here to level out the ground. It was a fairly big project, really hard to hand dig that. Another one is that I really got clobbered last year with all the water runoff from the spring runoff season. And I knew it would be a really good idea for me to get my hands on an excavator and get a trench dug around all of the shed and the home and everything, because if I can get it dug correctly, most of that runoff will end up in another drainage ditch instead of running down and flooding the front of my home. So those are the main things that needed to get done. And now that I own a mini excavator, I can kind of take my time a little bit and get those things done. I'm feeling nervous about it because it was a huge expense, but I'm feeling excited because I think it's going to be really fun to learn how to drive it. And the little bit of practice I've done building this spot behind me, that I actually cleared out and leveled this a little bit and then put some gravel down for a spot to park the Mini. I'm starting to get used to using it, and I think it's going to be a really fun machine to own and operate as long as nothing big blows up on it.